Today is the final day of the Eagles rookie minicamp, so what are the expectations around Jalen Carter and why is Jason Kelce so optimistic? And don't forget the right guard battle. Is it Cam Jurgens' job to lose, or is Tyler Steen the new man for the job? And well, the Eagles released new numbers, so we officially have Agent Zero, but why is there so much controversy? And what did the new running back actually say? Let's break it down, but first, let's run it. What's up guys, I'm back after an extended break with the family. Highly recommend Hawaii if you get the chance. For those that are new, I'm Josh and I cover the birds. And we start with the Eagles releasing the official jersey numbers for several of the recent additions, some of the namely ones like Jalen Carter to wear number 98, Nolan Smith to wear number 3, and Dandre Swift to wear number 0. That's right, for the first time ever in Philly, or the first time ever period, there is a new Agent Zero, and that's Dandre Swift. And while the mock-ups look absolutely sick, that wasn't what grabbed headlines after a Twitter account going by the name of Marlo Stanfield tweeted Dandre Swift on why he chose the number 0 said, quote, "That's how many times the Cowboys have been to an NFC championship game in my lifetime," end quote. And as it often happens in the age of information, the tweet spread like wildfire with media outlets and news organizations picking it up and running with it, saying Eagles running back takes shot at Cowboys, Swift clowns Dallas, and the headlines go on and on and on and on. But the part where it became even more evident that this had gotten out of hand was when Dallas's Micah Parsons replied to the tweet saying, "Damn, you just pulled up on the block, Swift." The unfortunate part to this was that by Parsons replying, it sort of gave the original tweet even more credibility and had many people speculating if Dandre Swift had actually said that in the introductory press conference.
You are fake news.
Thankfully, Swift rushed in to discredit the quote, as did nearly every other beat writer who was in attendance for the press conference, but it was crazy to see how quickly the misinformation could spread, so perhaps maybe a word of caution, not every person with a blue check mark next to their name is credible. Beware the trolls. Since the last time I checked, the tweet had nearly 4 million views and over 4,000 retweets, but as Mike Fisher of SI.com pointed out, Marlo Stanfield is a fictional character from the HBO show The Wire, and Boo Radley is a fictional character from Harper Lee's classic book To Kill a Mockingbird, and it seems the only thing that's real here is the NFC East rivalry of Dallas and Philly being stoked in most every offseason way possible. Well, there was truth in the stats of the statement. Dallas hasn't been to an NFC championship game since Swift has been alive, but who's counting? All right, maybe I am. But the bigger reality here is that just about anything will stir up the rivalry, like Mike said, so both sides bickering back and forth. Unfortunately, Marlo may have just put a bigger target on Swift's back. So, yeah, appreciate that one, Marlo. It's just hard to know what the real story was, but there was another instance of that with Jalen Carter after ESPN's Adam Schefter said earlier in the week on 97.5 The Fanatic that Jalen Carter got on the phone with Nick Sirianni and other Eagles officials and told them how much he wanted to be there. And Schefter believes that that call he made that day, in addition to the way the board fell, were instrumental in Jalen winding up in Philly. But as Jamie Kimsky of the Philly Voice reported, when asked about that phone call, Carter denied it by saying, "I can't remember if I called anybody." He said, "Nah, I didn't call. I don't remember that." I don't know, nothing crazy, but it's a little bit odd that Schefter would report and then Jalen kind of deny it happened or can't recall. One thing we can be certain of, though, is Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni is confident and not concerned about Jalen Carter's conditioning after they went over the rules, the team rules, and one of those team rules is be on time, and another one of those rules is be the weight you're supposed to be at. Those are non-negotiable for Sirianni. The players know that and will just keep that standard as we go.
You must be outside your mind. We are going to do up-downs until Blue is no longer tired and thirsty.
Okay, I don't think that's fair. And before I get a lot of comments saying I'm making fun of Jalen Carter, I'm not. I actually think he's very motivated, and I said it many times. Him being on this squad with the Georgia teammates, I think it really only sets him up for more success. And Sirianni also gets the same sense that Jalen wants to be the best pro he can be, saying we will get him to what he's supposed to be playing at. And I have no doubt in my mind he'll do whatever he needs to do to be the player he needs to be. And that's not all, as Jason Kelce also believes in the Philly culture being the perfect place for Jalen, saying the environment makes a difference. Who you interact with makes a difference. He's going to enter a great room in Philadelphia, and he's going to have an outstanding opportunity to take ownership over this. What do you guys think? Is there any reason for concern, or are you confident that this won't be an issue with Jalen? Another guy who Jason Kelce is very high on is Cam Jurgens, after he said, "I'm pretty excited about the kid. I liked him a lot. I like his tools. I like his mentality. I think I've looked at a few guys the past couple years when they've asked my opinions. He's here obviously because Jeff Stoutland and Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, all those people watched his tape and really believe in him. I think although he does have a lot of similar traits to me, he's going to be his own player, and I'm looking forward to helping out any of these young guys, in particular Cam." Now, that was obviously right after the draft last season whenever the Eagles took Jurgens, so Jurgens is going to be entering his second season and is most likely the odds-on favorite to win the starting job at right guard. Perhaps it's Beef Jerky season? Well, not so fast, because rookie third-round pick Tyler Steen has lined up at right guard during the rookie minicamp, and Nick Sirianni wouldn't commit to a starter at right guard since it's a really long way away. Sirianni said, "We don't have to make that decision for a while, but the best player will play at that position, and we feel like we have some good options. And the reason why we took him is because we feel good about him. Everybody in the building feels good about him. Yeah, it's too early to say that, but the best player will play, so I guess that kind of answers the question." Also, I don't know if you believe in this sort of thing, but Steen was given the number 56. Remember, the exact same number worn by Isaac Seumalo. Could Steen end up filling those shoes? Probably not. It does sound like Steen needs another year with Stoutland before he'll be ready, and I do believe that Beef Jerky will be the right guard when the season starts, but the Birds aren't just handing over the keys to Jurgens, and I think it's a good thing. Let him learn it. Don't just automatically hand it to him. Another member of the Eagles who is going to have to earn it, though, is 7th round selection Moro Ojomo. SI.com's Ed Cracks had a great story on Ojomo and says there's a lot of potential on this kid. Ojomo originally is from Nigeria and then moved to California before eventually moving again to Houston, but he's always been intrigued by the Birds organization, saying, "When I was a young child, I remember really loving Reggie White. And I totally forgot about Jerome Brown, and I saw it out there on a picture that hangs inside the Eagles practice facility, and I maybe watched a documentary. And Brian Dawkins is another guy I was really fond of, Randall Cunningham. So the Eagles, in hindsight, I thought they were a really cool organization, a really cool team." And Ojomo has a really cool story too, because it's incredibly unique. He started kindergarten at the age of 3 and then stayed on track there after moving to the United States, enrolling in college at the age of 16. The dude is obviously insanely smart and has an incredible work ethic, saying, "I'm just always ready to go to work. I live life with a competitive edge in a sense, and I want to compete. I have one life to live, so why not compete? Why not shoot for the moon and aim for the stars and do what I can do? I want to come in and contribute. I want to come in and learn. This is a great organization with a great D-line, with just great people, great culture, everything. I just want to come in here and contribute as much as I possibly can and ultimately learn and keep increasing that. I don't ever want to become stagnant." How can you not love this guy? In his final year in Austin, he recorded career highs in total tackles with 32, tackles for loss with 5.5, and sacks with 3. This dude is listed at 6'3", 292 pounds, but can be an absolute game wrecker in the run game. Sure, he understandably needs some work in some other areas, kind of rounding out the game, specifically pass rush, but I love the potential just to add him with this D-line rotation, and even Pro Football Focus has tremendous praise for Ojomo, saying Philadelphia closed out its draft with Texas's Moro Ojomo, another top 100 player on the PFF big board. Ojomo was tremendous against the run at Texas, producing 91.4 PFF run defense grade in 2022. Even if he never develops as a pass rusher, this was still a worthwhile selection in the 7th round. Let's go. How do you feel about the future potential of this pick? Anyway, looking ahead into the future, Todd McShay released his way too early 2024 mock draft, but has the Eagles taking a familiar name, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at number 30, as he writes, "Joey Porter Jr. went to the team that drafted his dad back in 1999, Pittsburgh, this year, so why not project Trotter to go to the team that selected his dad in 1998 next year? The younger Trotter is coming off a great season and could join Nakobe Dean to fill the hole left up in the middle after the departures of TJ Edwards and Kazir White. He has great instincts and 6 foot, 230 pound size. Trotter had 91 tackles, 6.5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for loss, 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a forced fumble last year. He does it all. So I think the question at this point is, isn't it too early to be thinking about this stuff? Don't get me wrong, I love the idea of seeing Trotter on the back of an Eagles jersey again and solidifying the middle of the field, but this is so far down the line, and if we're being honest, if McShay just mocked it to happen, that means it probably won't. But seriously, how cool would it be to have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. added to the mix? Okay, moving on. The NFL schedule is less than 1 week away from being released according to many reports, and Inside the Eagles has 3 games on the Eagles schedule that the NFL has to feature in primetime. So the first one may be a bit obvious, as they say perhaps an Eagles versus Chiefs rematch at Arrowhead for a Thursday night opener to kick off the season. Wouldn't be too much to ask for, but Philadelphia has played the Kansas City Chiefs 10 times in their history with a record of 4-6, and more notably, the Birds haven't beaten the Chiefs since Big Red left for KC, losing 4 straight. I sure would love to see Philly impose our will on opening night and set the tone for the season. You may notice a theme, though, with the second game being proposed versus the 49ers. So with all the recent noise from Deebo Samuel about how the Eagles got lucky and only had to play 10 men, the Niners are still salty and obviously want to prove to everyone that it was a fluke in the NFC Championship game. So let's bring it to primetime. Inside the Eagles writes, all in all, this is a tough matchup for both teams on paper, as 2 top defenses match wits with 2 elite offenses. If the Niners are bitten by the injury bug like they were last season, the Eagles will no doubt celebrate an easy win over them, but every way you slice it, this is a game befitting of a national audience. And we'd be pretty bummed if the NFL didn't make this a part of their primetime matchup. And finally, their third request is another team from the AFC in the Buffalo Bills, where they say it might be hard for the Eagles to score versus a defense as talented as this one. We'd love to see them try, though, and we'd love to see them try during a primetime showdown of 2 outstanding teams that don't play each other very often. There's so many great games on the schedule, but I'm not going to lie. These are some of the definitely more intriguing ones. We're looking for primetime matchups, and another thing that I want to see is how will defensive coordinator Sean Desai fare against some of the top quarterbacks in the league? Because remember, that's kind of been the knock on the team for the last couple seasons, or certainly the defensive coordinator in Jonathan Gannon, that any above average quarterback could just roll out there and put up massive numbers. So let's test it on primetime. When the lights are brightest, let's face the quarterbacks that always give you problems. I want to see it. What do you guys think, though? Are there any other teams on the list that you would want to see in primetime? I know, yes, you're going to see Dallas. That's another one that'll be on their divisional games for sure. And I'd love to see them all in primetime. They'd be fantastic if we could do that. But let's just say you could only do 3 primetime games outside of your division matchup. Which 3 games would you choose? Let me know. Last day of minicamp today with so many more storylines to follow as we head towards training camp. Also, huge giveaway coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. This has been the Philly Special.